What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Harry Douglas, former wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm joined by John Abraham, former defensive end for the Atlanta Falcons. And today we're also joined by three guys who came to the team, the Atlanta Falcons, this offseason. Calais Campbell, Jonnu Smith, Jessie Bates III. Fellas, it's a pleasure to have y'all here in the A-Town. Me and John know what the A-Town is all about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a blessing to be able to have y'all in and talk about y'all experiences in the NFL and just a lot of different topics. And I want to start with draft day.
Draft day.
Draft day. Because not everybody has the luxury of being able to be drafted in a professional sport. All of us had that luxury. So, Calais, I'm gonna start with you, man. What was your draft day experience like?
Man, that's ways back now. But I had left school early, which is kind of like a new thing back then. You see it all the time now. But there's only a few people, and usually if you leave in school early, you're supposed to be a top 5, top 10 pick. And I low-key was, but then I, big-headed, young, and I showed up to the combine out of shape, 30 pounds, overweight. Then when I played my last college game in, and end up getting drafted in the second round. And like back then, first second round was the same day. But I'm just sitting here, sitting in all my family. We got rented a little spot out, and we having a good time. We vibing, and the draft going, and I was okay. They called me, said you probably gonna go middle of the first. Might go late first, but you should still go first round. So I'm like, cool. But then the draft comes, and I just see D lineman after D lineman getting drafted. I'm sitting here hurt. I'm talking about hurt because I know I'm nice. I know I'm gonna be in the league balling, and I'm like, man, all these dudes getting drafted ahead of me because I was big-headed. I need to be humble, but it still is a sweet experience. I don't care. When that call finally came in, it was everything. I'm sitting there I ain't crying or nothing, but I feel like I had that tears of joy. And the mom I made, all my hard work, everything that I fought for. We here now.
So I came out of FIU. It was a mid-major school, smaller school. Didn't have, many guys come out of that school. I didn't know where I was going to get drafted. I had a big, big family gathering at my house, man. And the first day, now in 2017, it was tight end heavy. It was O.J. Howard, David Njoku, George Kittle was in that class, Evan Ingram.
Wow.
But it was just a tight end heavy class, man. So the first day, it was like 3 tight ends went, and that's rare. You know what I mean? 3 tight ends go in the first round. It was O.J., Evan Ingram, and Njoku. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting drafted day 2. I know for a fact. And I see a 615 area code. You know what that is? You know what I mean? And it was John Robinson, man. And he was like, man, what you doing? I was like, I'm sitting here with my family. I was like, you want to hear him? Put the phone up, everybody was going crazy. You know what I mean? So he had no choice but to draft me, man. And, it just became a beautiful day. And I was there with family and loved ones. And, I'd do anything to go back to that day.
For my draft process, I wanted to be very unique. I wanted to be special, near and dear to my family. So I had invited, obviously, my grandma, and I didn't want too many, fans and, stuff like that, friends from, the city and stuff like that. I just wanted to be close-knit because honestly, I didn't know where I was going to get drafted. But, coming in to Wake Forest, I got redshirted my first year. I was probably like $170. Played 2 years, came out early. We had Minka in that draft, Derwin James. So we had a pretty good, safety group. But I remember I was like in the back end of the second round, and I remember just pick after pick. In the second round nowadays, they just start showing commercials and stuff like that, and names at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. I'm looking at my mom, I'm like, man, I don't know if this was a good idea. I still had 3 years left of college. But, thank God I got picked the 53 pick of the draft. And,
Lord.
After that, the rest is history. So that draft process is definitely an experience, not just for yourself. I think it's for, people that have, made sacrifices in your life. I think that's where it all kind of came together for me.
I lost 21 straight games in college. And my thing, I still didn't think I was a first-round pick. In my mind, I said I ain't a first-round pick because of what the team did, and they put it in your head it's such a team sport.
Yeah.
And you start judging your career about what your team did, especially if you're a good player.
But also
I was
the
the
winning
MVP on the worst
aspect of
team.
things, too.
I was the MVP on the worst team. how am I gonna feel good about that? Lou Holtz called.
That was me every year. I won the offense MVP every year.
Yeah,
I'm
it was like Lou
we
Holtz.
like 4 and 8.
Lou Holtz called. He was like, yeah, John, you got to come to the banquet. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna. No, you got to come. So I came. He's like, MVP, John Abraham. I was like, man, you got there. I was like, no. So for
21
me,
straight games. That's
21
wild.
straight games. So for me, it was kind of bittersweet. But that feeling you get is a feeling that you'll never have again in your life.
I would say, man, when you guys look at your career, obviously y'all three are still playing right now. Me and John are retired. What's one thing that, you know, your younger self wish y'all would have known?
Can I answer this first? Yeah, just because I'm older. I would say, and I literally mean this, like, enjoy the time you're there. Like, don't let the outside world take away what you worked so hard to get. I think about, I was having a long talk with them two about some situations that happened in my career, and I let it take away from football. Like, I remember, like, the antisocial me came out. Like, after games, go speak to other players because the relationships, like we said, are gonna be more than money. Like, people that you get to talk to, it's gonna transition in your regular life. I put it like this in my life now. Okay, you spend money, you waste money, right? You spend money to take care of yourself, you know, take care of your family. You waste money, you might get jewelry that we got on and stuff like that. You spend time and you waste time. You spend time with your family. You spend time getting better at the game. You waste time when you go to party. You waste time you doing this. I ain't saying you can't spend time in that, but at the end of the day, when I look at my time, when I was wasting my money, I was wasting time that I could have spent with my kids. I was wasting time that I could have spent, and that's something you can't get back.
That's deep right there.
No, yeah, so when you think about life, think about football like that. When you're going into work and you're like, hey, think about tomorrow you might not be here. Or you might be somewhere else. So all the things you get, like, be around your coaches, get all the knowledge you can get out of football. Because I think you were just saying, Jonnu, you was talking about getting into broadcasting and everything.
Right.
It starts here.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that you can learn from this game that will take you so far in life. Like, even the relationships, like, mainly the relationships, like what Harry was saying here. And that's the realest thing I can tell y'all about that.
Like, when we in that building, like, when we done, we done. These other people, like the GAs and stuff like that, those people are making their way up. So, you know, 10 years later, maybe you want to get into, you know, coaching or whatever it is. You know, they the head coach at that point. You know what I'm saying? That's just how the
Let me
league
tell y'all a
works.
story
So I
about
think
y'all
that's a
head
big
coach
thing.
right now. When I got to
In
Tennessee,
yeah.
He was
The GA.
a quality control.
quality control coach.
Right.
But that's why I think it's important, like the respect aspect of things.
Yep.
I don't care
Humility.
what a human being, what their title is. You treat everybody with dignity
Sure.
and respect.
So,
Because that same person may be the person that help you one day. And you just never know.
Yeah.
But I think the baseline principles, something I think is lost in our world today though, is just treating
Treat
each other
everybody
with the
with
common
respect.
decency and respect.
always got to show love. Every single person you come across got some kind of value to add, right? And so I feel like, you know, we get caught up in, like, you know, I think sometimes as athletes, we get caught up in the hype of, like, oh, we superstars, so we're different. It's like, nah, boy, we just regular people with a good job. You know?
Right.
Just be yourself, like what Calais said, and live your life like you want to live it for the next 50 years, not the next 5, 10 minutes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The instant gratification will kill anybody. Like, if you think about your life and the instant gratification, the stuff you do just to get over a bad day.
Right.
It's like sometimes getting over a bad day, just watching film. It ain't got to be I'm gonna go get drunk. That was my problem. Like, when I had a bad day, it was, but it was a coping skill. And I've been sober for 3 years now. Because I don't need that coping skill no more. And when I look back now, I was like, dude, all I was doing was just coping. You know, instead of going to talk to Harry, instead of talking to Calais, like, you know, Calais came to me, you know, tell me I wasn't playing good no more. You know, he told me what have I done for him lately.
I need this story. What you mean he came to you and told you wasn't playing good?
2013.
Yeah, I come to Arizona, and, you know, I'm already down. You know, I left my team that I love to death, my Falcons. I left the team. I get there, and I ain't starting at the time, so I'm just chilling. I'm like, if you paying me this money to be 3-4 plays a game, I'm gonna give you 3-4 plays a game work. I'm gonna be real, like, I'm a kicker down. Hey, and after that, I'm being there just playing baseball. Like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, so Claire's come up to me. Hey, John. I know you done did this, but what have you done for me lately? And this before he made it in the Pro Bowl, so, you know, I thought I looked at him, right? I was like, man, how many Pro Bowls you made, boy? And when I said, like, Calais is a towering figure, but when I said that, he was just,
Boy, my heart was in my mother's stomach, bro.
But what did that do for
But
you?
it was something that you needed.
Yeah,
though.
but real talk though, it really made me like go out there and like push myself. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get to the Pro Bowl.
We helped each other on that.
Yeah, we
helped
did.
each other on that. I will say it now. You were the best player that I played with on the D line. Like in my 15-year career.
That's respect right there.
No,
bro.
no, it's the truth.
That's-
It's the
that's-
truth. When you're playing with somebody side to side, like you playing safety, you playing tight end, you might have a good relationship with the tackle beside you because y'all always seeing each other.
Right.
You know, you always because like if I mess up, it's on him. If he mess up, it's on me. That's a team bond that we had.
We would play off each other, and it was like natural.
Natural, really.
I mean, it was easy. You know, it was like I see where he was going. I was like, okay, I can see. I just his mannerisms. I can see where he about to just take off and go. So I'll try to protect him.
Yeah.
You know, and there's times where like he see, well, I'm about to take off and go, and he'll just take it to a natural text. And we was out there taking turns, making plays, celebrating.
And for me, that's part of your legacy. Like when you get to play with people like this, when we can come back and talk.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Get your love.
Growing up here, it's unique for a lot of different reasons, and it has a lot to offer. What did you guys even know about the city of Atlanta before actually deciding you were gonna come here?
Yeah, I remember I started driving. We wouldn't fly to Florida for spring break. My mom would drive us from Indiana all the way down to Florida, so we would stop by Atlanta, stop by the aquarium and stuff like that. I remember the Super Bowls here, so I wasn't too familiar with it, but I always knew the culture behind it, the music. You know, you always want to hear
you were born doing Freaknik.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, 26 years. I was doing the math. I was like, 26, 29. Oh, boy.
So I didn't know much about it, but I'm definitely excited to learn a little bit more for sure.
That's what's up.
For sure.
For me, man, I just knew Atlanta was, it was like a hub for people like myself, you know, my skin color that can become
look like
success.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody here, you know what I mean? So that looked like us, you know what I mean? And I knew it was, you know, a place where, you know, a lot of them were succeeding, you know what I mean? A lot of us were succeeding, man, and I appreciate that 100%, especially coming from where we come from. And, you know, I like he said, it's a lot of culture here, music, food. I was like, man, I jumped at the opportunity because I just knew the city was so historic. You got Martin Luther King Drive everywhere around this joint. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, it's a blessing to be here, man, and you know, I'm wearing it with honor. You know what I mean? So
This is a lot of history here, you know, and I've been a fan of football for a long time. And I mean, I remember back when they had the Dirty Birds, you know. I grew up in Denver, so I was a big Broncos fan. I remember when they beat, you know, the Falcons in the Super Bowl. But I was a Falcons fan the whole season till the Super Bowl because it was young and cool. I remember doing the Dirty Bird, you know. I can't wait to do the Dirty Bird. I give me my 100 sack, I'll probably go do the Dirty Bird. I ain't gonna lie. That might have to come out afterwards. I'll probably go
Y'all
crazy.
heard it here first.
No, but you know, being where I'm at, like in my career and stuff, you know, like a lot of people expected me to go to a place that was more proven, had a better, you know, chance at other people's standards. But I'm sitting here studying tape, and I'm talking to people and doing my research and stuff, and I'm like, yo, a lot is closer than people realize, you know. They're able to get other guys, you know, in the class.
Absolutely.
The free agency class, I'm like, okay, you know, I mean, you know, I see the potential, and if we do it right, you know, it can be something special, you know. But from a city standpoint, you know, I just remember thinking to myself like, you know, black success. You know, I remember Vonnie Halliday a couple years back. I was trying to figure out, like, you know, where can I live when I'm done playing ball? And he was like, man, come on out to Wakanda, man. This is Wakanda, man. You know, black success everywhere. You know, and like, you know, I mean, you know, my son, I want to put him in like top schools. So make sure he's getting top quality education, but I also want him to be around diversity. You know, most of the top schools in areas that I lived in, you know, not a lot of kids look like him, so you're outcast by nature, you know. And like, you know, and he'd have been fine, you know, regardless, because, you know, I'm gonna raise him to handle any situation.
Right.
But it's just nice when it's just natural, where it's a good diversity, a little bit of everything, you know. And so that definitely played a role.
So Calais, one of the things I wanted to ask you though, because I know you're big in the community and like giving back, and you know the owner of the team, Arthur Blank, he's huge on giving back to the community. Is that something that played a factor in your decision to come here too?
A little bit, you know, because I mean, I'm gonna do good charity work, you know, always. Just that's who I am, you know. Like I was raised to like be a community man, you know, like in, you know, we as strong as our community. So I'm gonna make sure, especially like, you know, helping kids who are less fortunate. You know, I mean, I grew up in a homeless shelter, you know, for a period of time. I mean, we was there for like 5-6 months, but throughout my life, we had ups and downs. You know, we had times where both my parents had good jobs, and we was 5-bedroom house, and we had times we was in homeless shelter, 1-bedroom apartment, you know, struggling, you know, trying to make ends meet. And it just was like, you know, that's life, you know. But I know there's kids out there that's struggling, families out there that's struggling that need help. And it's like, God bless me with the opportunity. I'm going to help people. That's who I am. Like I know the struggle. I know the pain. I seen it in my dad's eyes. When times are hard. So I know that like sometimes just a little bit of help can help people get back right. And with my pops, like when we got help, that's all we needed to get back into a situation where like after we left the homeless shelter, we moved to a one-bedroom apartment for a little while. Then we moved to a 5-bedroom house. And then when I went to college, I left from a 5-bedroom house, and it was like, it's a blessing, So just sometimes it just help people when they're in a tough spot, that's something I have to do. It's just the way I was raised.
Perspective. For you, Jessie, deciding to come here because, you guys could have went anywhere, but you chose Atlanta. And I know one of your former coaches, Steve Jackson, who's coaching the secondary now, he was with you in Cincinnati when y'all went to the Super Bowl. Did that play a factor in you coming here to Atlanta?
Yeah, so having those conversations, then going into free agency, obviously, wanting to get your family, set your family right, and Atlanta was the perfect opportunity for that.
All three of y'all, when I heard that y'all were coming to Atlanta, being from here, growing up here, playing in this organization, and knowing how all of us was on a team, it was a blessing. It was a blessing to be able to see. We came in at 08 together. But I know your mindset as a player. I played with you. I know your mindset as a player. Overall, not just on the football field, off the field as well. Me and Jack talked about you, and I watch you from afar, so I know your mindset and your approach to the game. So it's a blessing to have y'all in Atlanta, and I know the fans won't be disappointed, and I know the young guys on the team are gonna appreciate y'all.
I really feel like this team could be special, though. So I feel like, above everything else, I believe that, like we might mess around surprising people. Like I remember 2017 when I went to Jacksonville, and this team got a lot of like same like reminiscences. Like it reminds me of a lot of the same like how I felt in minicamp then. It's how I feel in minicamp now.
Like Calais said, it's the same kind of feels as Cincinnati. It wasn't a bunch of high-known, high-profile guys on that defense. It was just a bunch of guys that knew exactly what they were doing, and they didn't care if they made the play or the guy next to them made the play. And it's something, like I said, it's something that we've been building, throughout this mini camp, throughout OTAs. I feel like it's the same type of vibe, and that's how you win championships.
The thing y'all doing right now is building something. Even bringing Calais in, even though he's 82, he got a few more snaps in him. So y'all got people that are still young enough that ain't even reached their peak.
Yeah.
And this is y'all team now.
Right.
Like this literally is y'all team. Like y'all in the age limit. Like right now, you can play 5 to 10 more years in the same spot. Mm-hmm. And this could be y'all era. Like this is the kind of thing where people going, oh, you remember Jessie Bates? Yeah, boy, that Jessie Bates was out there. You whatever, boy. Y'all in that kind of era that you can have that long lasting name. And being at this age and having a young quarterback, like piecing it together, that's perfect. Like you come in the league and everybody working together, so you get to know each other inside and outside. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see in this team. Like when I saw this team, when I was talking to Arthur, I was like, man, I love how your team from you all the way down sound the same.
Yep.
When that culture is built between you guys and that cohesion is there, it don't even take a bad game. It could take a guy walking in the facility and you just notice when something is not right with him.
That's not y'all MO.
And you go to him.
Not your MO.
That's when you know you have a squad. But I just want to, touch on a little bit, the culture that you guys are building and the cohesion in the locker room. Because one of the things I always hated is when I visit locker rooms and, the offense is here and the defense is there. I like guys mixed up. And that's how we were. Like, receivers hung out with old linemen and D linemen, and we playing cards together. We had that cohesion.
That's what it got to be. For you to be successful, you got to have that brotherhood. It's got to be a family mentality. You got to have each other's back. I got to sell out knowing that you're going to sell out. You ain't going to let me down. You ain't going to hold nothing back, and that's what it takes to win, But if you do that by spending time together, hanging out and really getting to know each other. And so, weekly, we do, dinners, most teams it's D-line. It's DBs, everybody kind of broken down in groups. Then, as you kind of mature, you get some better teams, the whole defense. This year I'm trying to invite the whole team. If you can make it, man, let's get together, let's break bread, let's chill. We take turns paying the bill, we split it, whatever. I take one of them, maybe two. But at the end of the day, though, that brotherhood is created, and you start caring about each other. You know, get to know your kids, knowing you got a fourth. You know, asking about your son. You know that family bond. You know, we start hanging out at each other's houses and stuff, watching tape together, breaking down stuff. Like, yo, I see this, bro. Hey, when they get in this formation, they're gonna do this. You know, and I'm gonna just shoot this. I'm gonna do whatever. Like, you just start creating that trust where you know we got each other's back. You know, and then like, you know, and I think the bond got to be with the coaches too. You know, like, it can't be the coaches versus players or, you know, us and them. It's got to be all of us together on the same page, challenging them like, yo, this game plan, I like this. Right here, I ain't sure about. You know, why you feel like this is the best way of doing things? So that we could talk through it, now we're on the same page, and I built more trust in the game plan, so now I'm gonna sell out for you, you know, but all that stuff goes hand in hand.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
And that's what I think. I think that we got a good squad where, you know, we brought in guys that's got a lot to prove. You got guys that have been there, that have done it all, you know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest part, I think, that when you got people starting to second guess a couple things, you got the older guy, hey man, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how the details of third down supposed to be. And I think that's where we are as a team right now. Building that relationship, having those talks is gonna make each other play harder for one another. So
yeah, what about the offensive weapons, man? Because I think people touch on the Falcons' offensive weapons, but I know when you look at a guy in Kyle Pitts who's a unicorn, you look at yourself, Jonnu, who you're not the normal tight end. Like, you can do a multiplicity of different things on the football field at your position.
Right.
And then you look at a Bijan, you look at Tyler, you look at Cordero. Like, you look at all those guys, you look at Drake London.
You know.
Like, what have y'all seen from the offensive weapons that, you know, give y'all that confidence that it's gonna be okay?
Man, we got a whole lot of them. That's what I see it in practice too. You see guys that fly around, practice hard, you know, and just, you know, want to win. You know, you see the hunger in their eyes. And, you know, I feel like, you know, when you have a young quarterback who's trying to, like, you know, kind of find his way in this league, you know, surround him with talent, you know, you'll see what he is, you know. And I think, you know, it's gonna be fun to see. But, you know, I think, you know, I know people get so caught up in, you know, oh, they want to go back to old school football, run the ball well. But, like, I mean, it still worked.
Bro, that's what's opening up the passing game. That run game will open up the passing game. Like, you know, when I was in Tennessee and we was rushing for 1,500 yards a season, you know what I mean? And we was able to get explosives because of that, you know what I mean? And guys kind of missed the concept of that, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got no problem sticking my face in there because I know that linebacker gonna step up the next play and I'm gonna come right behind him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna take it for what I need to do.
Yeah,
So
Arthur Smith doing such a good job with taking advantage of tendencies and like how people get caught up.
Yeah.
He started throwing the ball on first down and run formations, catch you off guard. And as a defender, it's like, oh, okay, you know, like I just know they're about to run the ball.
Right.
You know, he know how to like switch it up and keep the rhythm going.
Being a play caller ain't just about, you know, you calling the right plays, calling when to call the right plays, you know what I mean? And, you know, timing is everything in this league, man. So we got the right guy for it, man. You know Art.
Like, I remember him cussing guys out on scout team because they wasn't given the right looks. And I said to myself, as soon as I seen it, he will be a head coach because at the end of the day, like a person that takes it that serious, just holding up cards now, he can easily hold that card up and say, hey, y'all just go where y'all need to go.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's able to get on guys on the scout team, and it never happened again that season.
Yeah.
You just seen the brilliance and you seen the head coaching abilities in him then.
Leadership qualities.
What about, this is the big thing about Arthur that got me. He don't got to do this.
Think about how hard all us work. Think about how everybody in these chairs work to get there. And he didn't have to, but he's still quality control.
Yep.
You know,
Getting cussed out,
doing this, got a head coaching job.
PowerPoints.
And loving it. Just to have somebody that show passion. And if you talk to him, the dude is smart about football. It's not like he a guy that just got a job. And that's what really took it to the level for me. When I was like, I like him.
Some connections, you know, kind of, you know,
he did none of that.
shoulders and try to
He did
get,
none
you
of
know,
that.
moved up a little faster. But, you know, because I got advice from other coaches and stuff, you know, because I mean, like, you got relationships in this business, and I got some great coaches that I love playing for. And so when I'm getting ready to make my decision, try to figure out where I'm gonna go, I'm asking people who know people, you know. So I called one of my coaches and I'm like, yo, what do you think about Arthur Smith? And he was like, well, one thing for sure is he's the hardest to game plan against. You know, when it comes to the run game and just understanding, you know, how the game plan was, he's the hardest game plan against. You know, another thing is he ain't had to, and this is really what I found out about who he was. He said he ain't had to do this. He said he ain't had to go the route he went. He had connections where he could have moved up fast, but he chose to do it the hard way to get respect. And I was like, man, wow, you know, and it had a little force on my decision, you know, because of what kind of person he is.
Absolutely.
But see, I would say this. When I figured out, it made me respect him that much more as a player.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I love people that, you know, start from ground zero. Don't need the handouts and get it out the mud. but take it serious and they're productive in doing it too.
You're right.
I got the utmost respect for him, man.
No
and
doubt,
he
man.
knows what he's doing, and I think he's going to be able to lead you guys, man. And I thank y'all for coming out here, man, chopping it up with us at the shop.
Yeah,
For sure.
You know what I mean? And
Most definitely.
I'm going to be there rooting for y'all.
We need that stadium rocking. Man.
Yeah.
We need that stadium. Home game, we got to create a home field advantage.
Yep.
Build it for the rest of the way, you know? I mean, man, you know, Coach Smith hit us with one of them, like, you know, how dynasties are built, you know, build success, making people feel like they want to spend their hard-earned money to come out and watch you play, and then, you know, you give them something to cheer about, you know, and so it really starts for like this to start something great. I'm happy to put my hand in and be a part of it, man.
Sure.
I really see where this organization's going, where this team's going. That's gonna be great to watch.
Yes, sir.